Hey people of Earth, I'm going to do my best here to explain this because it's taken me several decades to understand what the creative process is, or at least some idea of it. And believe me, I wish many times that I was low in trait openness, that I was a Chad that could hang out with all the other Chads at the bar and have a Patagonia vest and be very conservative and a system manager type. You know, they run the world. That's why the world sucks right now. Okay? Be real. There's way too many Chads with too much greed running the planet. Am I saying it should be run all by creative people? No, because then it'd probably be a wish-washy mess. There's a fine balance. But at this current moment in time in 2021, there's far too many Chads running the planet. So the creative process is vexing, but I think I have some idea of it. Really, like I said, it's genetics. It's what you're born with. Some of it is environmental, but we'll start with the 5-trait personality factor that's used in clinical psychology to evaluate personality. First and foremost, the main one being trait openness, which is what Chads and Stacys lack. This 5-trait personality was started developed in 1949, and it was researched on to 1987 and still today. And the main factor, the first one, the acronym is called OCEAN, and the first one is openness. People who are high in trait openness scale. It's not like you're a 1 or a 10. It's you rank somewhere on that, and you can perhaps change a little bit over time. But people who are very high in trait openness are very creative. They're open to trying new things, focus on tackling new challenges. They're happy to think about abstract concepts and probably inviting. I mean, you think Steve Jobs was low in openness? No, he went and traveled to India. You think he sat in a room and thought of Apple? No, he went out and experienced and had different kinds of experiences. People who are low in trait openness, specifically Chads and Stacys, dislike change. They like wearing the same thing. They like dressing the same, having the same cars, wearing the same clothes. They're literally stuffed bag people. They don't enjoy new things. They're not very imaginative, and they dislike abstract or theoretical concepts. That's not to say that you can't be a systems manager, an account manager, and still have a hobby on the side and perhaps enjoy making music, or, that's just your job. I'm not saying as a one-size-fits-all, but usually people who are high in trait openness follow a life path that revolves around creative tasks, and things that aren't creative usually bring them great distress. Another factor to being creative, I found, is pressure. Not something you intentionally or unintentionally put in your life, whether you have neuroses or drama that happens to you. Either way, artists create under pressure. And what I mean by that is, you think that John Lennon wrote Imagine because he had an easy life, or T.S. Eliot wrote any of his books, or any of the great, most profound, To Kill a Mockingbird, any of the most profound works in history. Van Gogh had easy lives? No, they were full of suffering and heartache and trauma. It was a hard life. But somehow we don't seem to appreciate people with creative ambition as much as we should, and in fact have made the rules and systems in place so that creative people, as they always have been, are suppressed, even though they're required to open businesses initially. You need creative people to start up an enterprise, because otherwise it looks a copycat of everything else. But then we often get pushed to the wayside. I've been there. Another tip for being creative, not to mention putting undue stress and trauma on yourself, but is get rid of your TV, get rid of distractions. Maybe you have a few friends that you can relate to. Your base physiological needs and sociological needs are necessary, but pretty much just go all in, go YOLO into whatever it is that you want to do, and forget everything else. But it's difficult when wages, again, have been stagnant the past 20, 30 years, and you have to manage a job and being a normie in 8 billion people on this planet, and meanwhile contributing and doing something really crazy and far off. Like David Bowie said, you should just make nuts. You should just live a basic life and buy a house, and nothing wrong with buying a house, but just be normal and and drink beer at a bar and talk about the same shit over and over again. But for some reason, it's part of the human condition, because we confront the issues of denial and death. We need creative acts to sustain. You think the Bible was written by a bunch of normies? Probably not. Okay, these are just a few of my tips. So if you're feeling a little crazy through this quarantine and not being able to create as often, or maybe you're creating more and feeling more inspired, you aren't alone, and keep creating, because there's only one of you in the universe. Okay? Thanks for watching.